to the UBCO Student Life channel. Today we have a very exciting video because we're going to be talking about friendship. What? And it just so happens that all three of us are besties.
Guys, it's on camera and off camera.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Making friends is a bit of a daunting thing when coming to university. So we just wanted to share our tips.
Watch the video if you want friends.
Yeah. There you go. I've actually made a couple friends through my classes, namely Andy. Shout out Andy.
Shout out Andy.
We were in a class together in my second year, and then we just started talking about class, and then made plans to hang out. We went to BNA once, and the rest is history. Actually, that's probably not helpful for you guys. No. And then we just kept making plans outside of class, and it's blossomed into a really wonderful friendship.
How did you know that Andy was someone that you wanted to become friends with outside of class?
What a great question. I felt like we just connected when we started talking in class, and not all the friendships that you make in class end up being outside of class friendships, and that's okay. Sometimes you just have your in-class friendships, and those are good too. But sometimes you just connect with people, and if you feel that connection with someone, then you should, make a move and say, hey, do you want to go to BNA with me? Or do you want to get a drink? Or do you want to come to this club event with me? Which is what I did a lot. Stuff like that. So,
it's super awkward in the beginning.
yeah, actually, it's true.
Once you get past that initial awkwardness, it really pays off. A lot of times you make friends in first years, but they don't stick around, and that's also okay. So you shouldn't put too much pressure on yourself. You can make friends at any point of time.
A lot of us think that if you're past first year or past if you're in the upper years, it's hard because friendships are already established. But personally, I moved here as a transfer student, and most of the people my age were already in their third or fourth year. So, hey guys, plot twist or spoiler alert, I still have friends. It's possible, and if you just find like-minded people through clubs or your work on campus, that's a great way. That's a great way to make friends.
Yeah. And I feel like it makes more sense. It's more likely that you make friends in your upper years because you'll be working, you'll be in more specialized classes, you'll be doing more club events possibly, so you'll have a lot more opportunity to connect with people. So if you're in your first year and you feel like you haven't made any friends, that's okay. Most of those opportunities are gonna occur naturally in your upper years.
I am very fortunate to have friends outside of campus, outside of school as well. And I think my best practical tip for friendship making and in or outside of school is to go somewhere regularly. Because the forced proximity, you already know, that's what gets these friendships going. I don't think we'd be as close as we are if we didn't work together and have to see each other as often as we do. Unfortunately, that's the case. But hey, just because we work together and see each other often, that's what really helped us bond. And it's the same thing with being outside of school. Or if you join a club, if you meet with them regularly, it's much easier to form those connections. I go to church, so I see a lot of the same lovely people through there, and they're great.
You can also have a breadth of different kinds of friends. If you work off campus especially, some of my friends have friends who are middle-aged, and that's really helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
Living in shared spaces is difficult, and it's an interesting dynamic to navigate if you're friends with a person or not. But everybody's experience is different, and sometimes living with your friends is great, sometimes it's not so great, and you discover that maybe not all friends are made for roommates. Sometimes you meet people on Facebook Marketplace and just end up sharing a living space together, and you don't end up being best friends, and that's okay too. Try to not go into roommate situations with a lot of expectations, because it's hard to predict exactly how the outcome will be, and just make the best of what it is. That's my advice.
Sometimes your friends are better roommates, and sometimes your roommates are better friends, and it goes both ways. And sometimes you realize that your relationship with your friend changes as you become roommates, and sometimes it gets better, sometimes it gets worse, but you also have to navigate which aspect of that relationship do you value more? Do you value them more as a friend, or do you value them more as a roommate? Does putting a contract to your friendship change the context of it? Not to sound like a crazy person, but it's also interesting because once you start living with your friends, you start to see each other. Because you see them all the time. You're not really hanging out anymore. You're just in the same space, and that's also something that's sometimes difficult to navigate with. It's not always like the movies. It's not like a sleepover all the time. Sometimes you barely see each other even though you live in the same house, but it's fine. And it's all about figuring out how to navigate that and figuring out how to make the best out of that. And yeah, like, don't go into situations with a lot of expectations, but that's not to say that you should turn yourself away from potential things. So always keep an open mind, and who knows what you might end up with. Sometimes friend groups are like MLM schemes. So basically, you meet each other and you connect them to each other, and then you keep absorbing them, and it becomes one big corporation, and that's great. But it's also fine if it doesn't work out like that. It's okay if you feel like you don't really have a friend group, or you don't have like a picture perfect experience, as long as you feel like what you have works for you.
Merging friend groups can be fun if you know for sure that your friends are gonna get along.
Yeah, it's
Otherwise,
a bit of a gamble.
With no friends.
Yeah. It's a bit of a gamble, but if you really think that they, like, just try it out in small doses.
Yeah.
And you'll see.
And you also don't have to do it. You can have different friend groups for different
Purposes. Yeah.
And it's okay if all of them don't want to do things together, and that's fine.
Yeah, merge friend groups if you want. Don't merge friend groups if you don't want. The world's your oyster.
Real. That indeed.
Yeah.
So, live, laugh, love. So yeah, the unfortunate reality is that you do graduate at some point, and I'm graduating now. It's pretty daunting to keep up with friends, like the idea of losing friends after you graduate, especially if a lot of your friends are still gonna be here. This is just the nature of life, and it's the nature of time, and things change, and you just keep up with it. We've talked about how we're gonna stay in touch through making posts on social media, because some of us don't post enough on social media. And because that's just a way that we remember each other.
Guys, if you have ADHD,
you know what we're talking about. The object permanence is a bit of an issue, but no, seriously, texting each other on social media, like sending each other memes and TikToks, and laughing at things that we've always found funny is a great way to stay in touch. Also, with friends that I have, like from high school, that we just call each other randomly, and if we're both free, then the other person picks up, and if we're not free, then we just call a different time, because scheduling calls is hard, because things happen, things come up, you never know what's gonna happen the day that you schedule a call. So this kind of random, ooh, it's a bit exciting, you don't know if they're gonna pick up. It works for me, so it might work for you guys. And it's just like Sana was saying earlier when we were planning this video. Get in here.
Yeah.
You get to decide how you keep up with your friends and how often you call. Yeah, you have a lot of freedom in that, and it doesn't have to like follow a script or follow an exact way. It's just whatever works for you.
Yeah. You should get into randomly video calling your friends at inopportune times.
Yeah.
Everybody loves that.
Get in on that.
Yeah. And it's also okay if you feel like you're inconsistent with your friends. Like,
yeah,
oh, you don't text every day, but you call like for 3 hours and you're fine, as long as whatever you're doing works for you. And it also can be something passive, like you don't actually have to be doing something. You can be playing Minecraft together,
yeah,
or just hanging out doing video games. You don't really need to be sitting down and feeling the pressure to talk to the other person. If you just want to do your own parallel play situation, that's always fun.
And that's all from us, folks. Yeah, we hope that these tips are helpful and that you take them on as your own. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next September for more content from this channel.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Have a great summer.
Have a great summer.